Hi everyone, welcome back to the podcast. Quick disclaimer before we get into this episode. This episode will contain mentions of gun violence, hate crime, attacks against the LGBTQ plus community, and violence that many people may find upsetting and or disturbing. If that is the case, this may not be the episode for you. If you have been affected by gun violence, there will be links to the helplines in the description below. And there will also be helplines on our Instagram at True Crime Friday Podcast if you do need help with any of these topics. Hello everyone, I've got another cough again. Well,
that's gonna be annoying. Yeah. Oh well.
Got a cough again. My boss had a cough for about 3 weeks, and it kind of like did its route around the office. Like everyone kind of got it, and then I woke up the other day and I just was like coughing all night, and I went, "Oh, fuck's sake!" Like, why?
You got a bit too close to your boss, then.
I didn't. She sat on the other fucking side of the desk. Well, the other side of the desk. There's like 2 desks between us. It's like she sat further away from me, and I'm just like, dude, why? But yeah, I'm not feeling run down. I feel fine. It's just the cough is annoying, and I've got to go to a wedding in 2 weeks. I swear to God, if I'm coughing at a wedding, I'm walking out. I don't care. I was like, love you, cousin. I am walking out of this ceremony because fuck that. I'm not doing that. How are you anyway? Not got a cough?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I don't have a cough.
Lucky fuck.
Yeah, I'm quite lucky. I don't have a cough. No, I'm doing fine. Just finished watching some episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! And it is quite hot in here, actually. Yeah, so, lucky I've got a drink to keep myself hydrated. Been keeping myself quite hydrated over the past couple of days.
It has been warm. Like, I am very warm. I've got my fan on. Just because.
Yeah, I don't have mine because I don't know if you'd hear it in the mic, but I've got a window open, so that'll do.
Yeah, I've got mine a bit further away, so I'm getting like the breeze of it, and it's nice. But my flat is like a sauna. It's very, very warm. It's warm in this flat. So like when it's the winter, we don't need to turn the heating on. It's one of those. But so in the summer, it's disgusting. So. Love it. I've cleaned and decorated my balcony a bit more though, so then I can just sit on there.
Ooh, nice.
So it's a lot nicer because I'm not staying in the freaking hot box that is this flat. Fuck that. Not doing that.
Yeah, it's never good when it's super hot because you want to do stuff and then you get sweaty within a couple minutes. And you're like, oh god.
Yeah.
So having a drink has been very helpful for me.
Yeah. This is just like, no. It's meant to be cooler tomorrow, which is good, but I've got a friend coming around for her birthday thing. We're having like a little like chilled pamper night, get a lot of wine and kind of thing, get some snacks, and then. But I'm gonna set everything up on the balcony. It's like, no, we're not sitting inside. I will die from heat if I sit in here. Like, too long, we're going to sit on the balcony and we're going to do it that way. We've got the lights on there now, so it'll be nice when it's night time. Plus, it's a bit of a vibe when the party boat goes past. So, it'll be nice, it'll be decent. One thing that's not decent is the case that we're going to be talking about today. Because it's my week, so it's my turn. We're going to talk about a shooting. Lovely.
Yeah, well, I maybe meant to say this at the start of the episode. This entire week, the news has been flooded with awful headlines. So,
hell, yeah, it has.
It's not good right now in the world. I mean, when I watched the news a couple of days ago, all of the headlines were just, there was nothing that was like good news, and that's never a good sign.
I've got
there's usually like a balance, but like, come on.
I've got like some Instagram posts that will be ready to go out on one of the topics, mostly about another pedo in the BBC. Because that right, with that situation, I know we're going to talk about one case today, but the whole Hugh Edwards shite, last year, when the first scandal came out, you know, that he was asking, he was paying a 17-year-old girl for intimate pictures of herself. And then that came out, and obviously there was a lot of backlash for it, because the man's 60. He's in his 60s. It's fucking gross. I don't care what anyone says. If anyone, and I said this at the time, and I'm saying it again now, anyone says it's technically legal, fuck off, it's creepy, he has kids. No. Just fuck, it's creepy when you don't have kids, but it's like, mate, no, fuck off, it's weird, don't like it, don't care if it's legal. Because if you have to say the words, it's technically legal, you would not hesitate to go younger, and you cannot argue with me on this. It's like, oh, but she's technically like 16. You wouldn't hesitate to go younger. Don't fucking give me this bullshit. And I said this last year when the first scandal came out. I was like, he has done something else. And everyone was like, why'd you think that? I was like, because that's fucking dodgy. And then I got but it's technically legal. Don't care. He would go younger. Bet you something else is going on, because that's fucking dodgy for one. What else has he been fucking doing? And obviously, it got announced on Monday that Hugh Edwards is going to be in court due to child porn charges, because he was not only receiving them from someone on WhatsApp, but he was also making them. So, to all the people who gave me it's technically legal bullshit last year with the first scandal, would you like to shut the fuck up again? Please do. Because I fucking called it a year ago. I said he'd go younger. Because any fucker that goes, it's technically legal, are dodgy. And no one can win an argument with me on it. But that was one. And then...
Yeah, I had to explain, well, the news explained as well, but I had to explain to my grandparents and others that if you get sent something, that's classed as making it, even though you're not.
Yeah.
Making it as such, when you receive it, that classes as you making it, because a case of someone in this area, blah, blah, maybe said it before, my age was found having those indecent images, and when we read the article, it said making, and when my mate read it, I was like, what, making it? And then he said to me, no, making it includes you being sent it. The make it term's a weird way of saying it, because when you think making it, you think of actually... But when you get sent it, that comes under that as well.
And before anyone says anything else about that, like, oh, he received it, like, it might not be partially his fault. This was going on for 2 years. It was 2 years of it. It was from 2020 to 2022. Yeah, he was receiving those kind of images for 2 years. If you had a shred of non-pedo mindset in your brain, which a lot of us on this planet are completely fucking normal, if you got sent that, yes, you would panic, yes, you'd feel disgusted, you'd report it so fucking quick. He didn't. He kept it for 2 years because they found it on him. They found it on his devices. He kept it for 2 years. That says everything that you need to know about the situation. But it's just like, when my mum read that out, because I was sat in my mum and dad's back garden with them, and I was just like, what is it with the BBC?
I mean, I feel ashamed for anyone who isn't in the UK that looks to the BBC or the UK, because the BBC might be the biggest broadcaster in the world, maybe, I want to say. I don't know. I know it's extremely old. It's like in the 1920s, so it might be the oldest one. I don't know. But it's one of the biggest public broadcasters, or however you want to say it, in the world. And all this dodgy stuff happens underneath. And yeah. I feel for like people who like don't live in the UK, who see the BBC and learn about this stuff and instantly just think, wow. And it sickens me as someone from the UK that the broadcasting company of my home country, well, you know, not like local, because obviously I'm from Scotland.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
is just full of people. Like, the biggest thing, and I said it to my grandparents, it's like, when all this stuff happens under this company, which does so much stuff, and through my entire life, I have been subjected to the news, TV programs, the 3 main channels. Well, BBC One, BBC Two, and there's obviously BBC Three, but we get STV, which is Scottish television. BBC One and Two, so many shows, all this stuff. And in this recent case, the person who's the news, I see at supper time if I'm not watching the Scottish news, right in front of my screen, and so many others under this. And it's all just dodgy stuff, How bad is that when your own company's the biggest broadcaster in your own home country is just full of dodgy stuff, and they hide it under the public, and then all these people come out and they're just absolute horrible beings,
Yeah.
And I feel so bad. And other nations are seeing that as well, where they're looking in and going, "Oh wow, is the UK's television just all full of bad people? Why would anyone even trust that?" But we have to, and our money goes towards the BBC.
I think what got me as well was the BBC's response to it all, because obviously he was arrested a month ago, but the police didn't want to say anything until they 100% knew, and they were like, "We're going to take him to court based on it." So obviously when that happened, they announced, the news outlets announced it on Monday. He got arrested over a month ago. The BBC's response was, we are now putting measures in place to avoid our presenters or just anyone who works with us in that kind of way to not abuse their power in this kind of way. I was like, what do you mean now you are deciding to do this? You have been a company for so freaking long, and you are only just... You're not only a company that's been around for so long, but you're a company that's had multiple scandals very similar to this multiple times, and you are saying that now you are putting actions in place to avoid stuff like this happening. This should have been avoided for with so many different things that's gone on with the BBC and this kind of shit. This should have happened they should have put measures in place a long fucking time ago, but they just didn't. It's like, mate, you should have done this back in the 70s with fucking Savile, but you didn't.
Yeah, I mean,
don't say that now you're doing it.
I mean, it's so bad to be in the UK to say that you can't trust the biggest media outlet you have in your own country because a bunch of people on that are evil people.
Yeah, it's an ongoing joke. So obviously, in the UK, if you're not from the UK, to watch public television, you have to pay for a TV license. It pretty much goes to the BBC. And to watch anything on the BBC, you have to pay a TV license. It's like £10 a year or so. I can't remember. I don't have a TV license because I don't really watch anything on the BBC. Mostly stick to streaming services, but it's an ongoing joke in the UK where people don't really pay their TV license if they do decide to watch anything on the BBC, because if the TV license people come round to make you pay it, you don't have to let them in, you don't have to open the door, you don't have to, there's no legal thing that says you have to do it. But also a lot of people just turn around and go, mate, I'm not being funny, but why should you get anything when you literally have pedophiles running around your fucking building 24/7 and you clearly don't care? Fuck off. It's a joke. It's an ongoing joke, but it's like, no, it's true though. And then obviously we had as many people know, the very, very horrendous stabbing in Southport that happened. Killed 3 young girls, literally 3 children, because they went to a Taylor Swift dance class.
Yeah, that's caused a bit of controversy. I mean, this, I don't know, we've probably explained it before how it works in other countries, but we've explained here before that young people get anonymity, basically their identity hidden.
If they're under the age of 18, yeah.
But this case, this case was weird because he was 17, yeah, and they named him, but he was away to turn 18 in like a week. But then I don't know if they did it because they were like, this is such a severe case where we have to name him regardless of what it is, or if, well, it was a week, who cares? But yeah, they get anonymity, which I don't agree with, because regardless of what age you are, it's all for protection. And we've explained it before that, when these people commit these crimes and when they get released, new identities, nobody knows where they are. And if you do know where they are and you say it, you get in trouble. It's a whole weird kind of corrupt thing in my mind because, regardless of what age you are, people need to know the horrific crime you've done, not hide away. And it caused even more controversy because, well, I don't know if it's a typical British thing, but people just believe anything and they just kick up at the slightest thing. So they started attacking mosques because they believed it to be an immigrant. And then there was riots and stuff and all this other stuff. And then it's just been absolutely horrible. And, the UK, I feel like when I'm out in the UK, out and about, in Scotland, at least for me, I feel safe. But all this sort of more recent stuff that happens is making me feel less and less safe being in the UK. I'm less safe than I probably would be in some other countries. And that's saying something, that I'm feeling less safe in my own home country than I would if I traveled to another country that I've never been in. You know what I mean? You can't. It's seeming more and more these days that in the UK that you can't go to anything which seems like a normal, harmless thing without that fear now, and that's not what the UK needs. We don't need that fear of stuff and fear of even having kids going to anything. And the last thing we need is people on the forefront face of our telly turn out to be evil people we thought, we put trust in for it just to get stabbed in the back and everyone to look so stupid. To the fact that we didn't see or everything was hidden behind a mask. And, it's been so weird because it's not just in the news. I mean, anyone who's me or is on the internet all the time, in the past month, there's so many influencers, musicians, blah, 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 that have come out being diddlers. That everyone's saying this is the month of the diddlers. There's so many people now getting done for speaking to people that shouldn't be in this sort of thing. And it's like, the trust you put in anyone now, regardless of who it is just so dampening now. Even comments are just saying, you're good. I've seen comments on social influencers platforms saying, you're a good person, please don't turn out to be oh my god, I got scared from him and I thought you were So many people just can't trust anyone now these days. And it's absolutely horrible. We're in 2024 and we should be progressing as a nation, yet we're the ever-living fear is creeping over in so many people who are famous to abuse their power, and the people that you once looked up to or followed or trusted turn out to be horrible people. So I just feel absolute trash that, people in my media, your media, the whole of the BBC turn out to be evil people, and, people down in England are living in fear of doing simple everyday tasks. But it's the horrible reality of life today. But I doubt the case that you're away to cover is... I don't think is this a recent one? Or is this...
Fairly recent, yeah.
Yeah, I say that, well, not in like a joking way, but like so many shootings happen in the US all the time. Well, I was actually researching a few...
No, this one...
a couple of days ago.
This one was pretty big. So today we are going to be talking about the Pulse Nightclub Shooting.
Yeah, there we go. See, and even that in itself, nightclub. You can't go to a nightclub without fear of...
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know this one, but I was researching some shootings.
This was huge. This was everywhere.
No, I was researching some shootings a couple of days ago, and there were so many that were cropping up. But, it just seems... Well, as with a lot of them... just cold, heartless,
Yeah.
No sort of like motivation or whatnot. And that's why I guess the recent incident that happened in the UK gave me the fear, because it just happens like that. It's in the moment all this sort of stuff happens, and the shootings that I were researching and the ones we've covered, everyone's having a good time, and in a mere matter of seconds, everyone's just getting full panic mode, and there's already bodies on the floor. But I have not heard about this one, but just looking at images, that's a lot of faces, so this isn't a good sign.
No, this was huge. The Pulse Nightclub Shooting happened on the 12th of June 2016. It was an attack that was committed by 29-year-old Omar Mateen. He shot and killed 49 people and wounded 53 more in a mass shooting at Pulse, which is a gay nightclub in Orlando, Florida, in the US.
49?
49 people.
There's really 49 in that photo. 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 20, 30, 40. Oh my god, that's 49 in that photo.
Yeah.
Holy shit. And in a gay nightclub as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good. I feel like where this is going, where there might be some homophobic stuff within this.
We'll go into it. There's a lot to unpack with this one. So sit down, get your snacks, get your drinks. You're gonna be here for a bit, similar to my last episode, I'd say. To my last week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack with this episode. We're going to start off by going into the life of Omar Mateen, the perpetrator, first. So, Omar Mateen was born as Omar Mir Sadiq on the 16th of November 1986 in Long Island Jewish Medical Center in New Hyde Park in New York to Afghanistan parents. His father, Mir Sadiq Mateen, is from Herat and immigrated from Afghanistan in the 1980s and became a naturalized US citizen on the 17th of November 1989. Sadiq Mateen was a secret informant. When I say Sadiq Mateen, obviously, yeah, his dad. Sadiq Mateen was a secret informant for the FBI at times between January 2005 and June 2016, which is an interesting thing to obviously say, considering what his son would obviously go on to do. Sadiq Mateen also owns a non-profit company named the Gerard Jagar Incorporated, based in Port St. Lucie in Florida, which was founded in 2010, where he hosted a political commentary show that aired on the California-based Afghanistan television channel, which is where he expressed anti-Pakistan views. His mother, Shala Mateen, was taken into custody as well after she allegedly attacked her husband while he was brushing his teeth on the night of the 7th of December 2002. So it's a bit to unpack on his family here. Both of his parents first settled in New York, having 4 children, including Omar. After being raised in New York for a few years, he moved with his family to Port St. Lucie, Florida in 1991. Lucy, I think. His family was described as being moderate Muslims and all-American. Bear in mind, they do have American citizenships, so before anyone says anything a bit racist, I'm going to tell you they were American citizens, and Omar was born in the US. Because a lot of people like to speculate. At a young age, Mateen displayed a preoccupation with violence. The Associated Press and the Washington Post reported for his elementary and middle school education, he attended classes in St. Lucie County, Florida. While at Mariposa Elementary School, a third-grade teacher wrote that Mateen was very active, constantly moving, verbally abusive, rude, aggressive, much talk about violence and sex, hands all over the place on other children and in his mouth. Like, some of those things, from that quote, are very much like, sounds like a kid in elementary school, sounds like a simple kid, like, very active, constantly moving, bit rude, hands all over the place, hands in his mouth. But the verbally abusive, aggressive, and talk about violence and sex for an elementary school kid, it's definitely not normal.
How old is elementary?
6 to about 12?
And that's just elementary schools are the main point of delivery of primary education for children between the ages of 4 to 11, sometimes 4 to 10 or 4 to 12.
Yeah, about that.
Okay. Yeah. I always get confused. I've never... I always Google it and then I forget.
Yeah, it's about 4 to 12, and then from 12 to 14, it's middle school, and then high school.
5 to 10, yeah.
Yeah.
Elementary, middle school, high school.
Yeah. Unnecessary, in my opinion, but, you know.
Yeah, why is there middle school, which is 11 to 13?
Yeah,
why not just with us, primary, up to 12, and then, you know...
Well, we get our... Well, don't know what it's like in Scotland, because I was in primary school... Because you had nursery and reception, which was when you're, like, 3 to start being 5. Then you're in, like, the main part of primary school. It's all in the same building, normally. And then you get, like, primary school, which can be, like, from 5 till about 11. And then high school from 11 till 16.
Yeah, you've just got nursery, and then you hit primary school, which is P1 to 7, and then after that you've just got academy, which is just S1 to S6. Yeah, so basically, when you're like 6,
not what it's like down here.
6 till 12-ish is when you're in primary school, and then from 12 to like 18 or 13 to 18 is when you're in academy or secondary school, and that's it. There's just 2 systems, and then obviously the nursery before that, and it's that simple.
Wait,
when you're a kid, and then when you're a teenager, easy.
Yours is 13 to 18.
It's
fucking weird.
Yeah, no.
Right, so not in Scotland, obviously, Manchester. It's like, yeah, nursery reception for the ages of 3 till 5. Then you're in year 1 till year 6 in primary school, and that is from the age 5 to 11. You leave primary school after year 6. You go into high school, which is year 7 till year 11, so 11 to 16. And then depending on your school, some high schools have a built-in sixth form, so you'd stay in the same school. You just do year 11 and year 12 and 13 until you're 18, and then you go off to uni. A lot of places, like my school, you left high school, you applied to college, picked what you wanted to do, you did that from 16 to 18, and then you go off to uni if you want to. Don't have to.
Yeah, no, you just secondary school from like 12 to 18, which is just S1 to S6. We can leave whatever time, but I left when I was 18.
Yeah, mine was like, aged 11 till 16, and I left high school at 16 and then went to college. I did an extra year in college, so I did 3 years, so I left when I was 19.
Yeah, just have it easy up here in Scotland. We're actually a smart nation, that's why.
Nah, it just sounds fucking stupid.
And the fucking stupid when it's easy. Primary, secondary, easy, done. Academy, easy.
Like everyone else, man.
Well, you're smarter than everyone else, and you have to face the facts.
No. So, in the 7th grade, Mateen was moved to a separate class with the purpose of avoiding conflicts with other students. If your kid has to get moved to a different class to avoid conflicts with other students at that age, come on. He suffered from poor school performance due to many instances of behavioural problems. There was always that one kid, actually, that had very poor school performance because he just was a pain in the ass. A classmate at Mariposa said that Mateen was a bully, disrespectful to girls, and acted like he was better than his classmates. Another classmate reported that Mateen was bullied at school because of his weight and his Afghan heritage. His parents were described as dismissive of his poor behaviour, while his father had a reputation for being disrespectful to female teachers and dismissive of complaints about his son. I hate parents like that. Fucking dickheads. I hate them. My boy can do no wrong, parents. Fuck off. Do one. Dickheads. I hate the parents that say my boy can do no wrong. I hate them.
I feel like people who say that, not to have a go at them, say that but knowing that there is that part of, yeah, he could have. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the parents who say my boy can do no wrong knows very fucking well that their boy has probably done something wrong. They're just fucking... I hate them. They're annoying. Boy parents that act like that. Fuck off. And that's exactly what Mateen's parents are being like. In 1999, while Mateen was in the 8th grade, his teacher sent a letter to his father regarding an attitude and inability to show self-control. Mateen began his secondary education at Martin County High School in 2000, and at the age of 14 was expelled after being in a fight in maths class. To be fair, no one likes maths class. Where he was briefly arrested without being handcuffed and charged with battery and disrupting school, though the charges were later dropped. 14, and he got expelled and arrested for starting a fight. So we can already tell from a young age he's very fucking violent. Very violent. While a sophomore attending Spectrum, an alternative high school for students with behavioural issues, that is such a shitty name for a fucking school. Like, alright, so all the kids that are causing us a lot of bother, let's put them in a school and call it Spectrum. I feel like that's just that just sounds like an insult. That just sounds mean.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've said there's another people have as well. When you say the insult, are you on the spectrum? People say that in a term of like, you must have something wrong with you to be on the spectrum, which I think
it's very shitty, because that is literally being horrendous to autism.
Spectrum just means, I don't even know what the actual spectrum is, but from what I understanding, and when I have said it, and apologise if I have said it, I think it's like just my mind envisions spectrum as like a line where there's like the further up you go on the spectrum is the more severe case you have, which affects your mental and your brain, right? Is that kind of how it...
Alright, so the spectrum is multiple areas. It's normally aimed at neurodivergent people, so people who are autistic or have different types of ADHD. It's kind of like a level, so yeah, the higher you're on the spectrum, the more it would affect you. Some people can be non-verbal, some people it can cause it affects them in day-to-day lives and makes it very difficult for them to take care of themselves. So they have people to help them out with that kind of thing. But there's different levels of the spectrum kind of thing. But I feel like just calling a behavioural school the spectrum is just so shit.
Yeah, I mean, people these days... it's a thing, and I've seen this on Instagram, I don't know if you have, that in comments now, where instead of exactly saying it, the two terms that people say are, some people have got confused, when people say, are you acoustic?
It does my fucking head in, you know. It does me head in.
There's, are you acoustic? And then there's, are you restarted?
It does my head in, because it just makes me, I hate... You know what, I'm just going to go off on a little bit of a tangent. This whole, thing in comment sections on different videos and stuff now, where it's like, is he acoustic? Are they acoustic? All this kind of stuff. It's like, I know exactly what you're trying to say, but I hate it. It does my head in. And it's like, because they're not saying it as a genuine curiosity, they're saying it as an insult, and that's what annoys me. But they change the word, they make it a different word to make it sound like they're not insulting you, but they fucking are.
What a close word, because when you see acoustic, I could tell that when people were saying, are you restarted? Are you acoustic? It was meaning it that, and it's that weird sort of nonchalant way of like, even if somebody was genuinely saying it, it's when someone doesn't want to say the word because they feel they can't say it because they'll get in trouble for just saying it, so they try and go, are you... Yeah,
and it makes it worse. It literally just makes it worse than not saying it, in my head. It genuinely just makes it worse. But it's like that, and when someone's they just made a normal video, and then someone will comment just being they'll say something, and at the end of the comment they'll say, I hope this helps. Right, that is the equivalent to your parents responding back to your text message with a thumbs up. It's like, you cheeky bitch. It's the equivalent. I hate it. Whenever I see a comment that says, hope this helps, I'm like, I will kill you. Fuck off. I hate you. I hate you. I don't know you, but I hate you. I hate you already. Dickhead. Fuck off.
I mean, the term I've heard, and I have used it, is the tapped in the head. I use that annoyingly sometimes. When I play games and people just do not cooperate, I hands-on will say, oh, are you tapped in the head? Which is a way of saying, are you actually processing stuff right now? What is going on? Because, and it's just the thing, I never say anything way offensive some other gamers do, but that's the one thing I say, because I would never full-on say, are you full-on blah, blah, blah. But I sometimes feel bad for saying that, but it's just that there's many phrases to get round the way of someone.
I just quote Misfits. I just turn around and go, are you mentally deficient?
Oh, that's one way, but that doesn't feel like it's a bad way of saying it.
It depends on how you're saying it. You say it like the character in Misfits is saying it. She says it so angrily at him. She just goes, "Are you mentally deficient?" And he turns around to her because he's just thrown a brick at a car to try and distract her. And she jumps out of a car and says it. And then he just turns around and just goes, "If I was mentally deficient, I would have missed," and fucking legs it. But I'm just like, "Are you mentally deficient?" And I only do that if I'm frustrated and you're genuinely
that's with me as well,
annoying the shit out of me. But anyway, he gets sent to this high school called Spectrum, which is an alternative high school for students with behavioural issues. Classmates told the Washington Post that Mateen cheered in support of hijackers during the 9/11 attacks and stated that Osama bin Laden was his uncle who taught him how to shoot AK-47s. Now, that's horrendous. Why is there always that one kid in the class that just bullshits all the time? Like, there's always that one kid who just, like, bullshits and says weird shit like that all the time. Like, oh, this person who's on TV is my fucking uncle. It's like, would you like to shut the fuck up, man?
Yeah, there's always that. Yeah, once on holiday in Spain, me and my mate got on a pedalo. Pedalo took a pedal to Africa.
Basically, they are the J from the in-betweeners of the world.
Could you spare us the bullshit for 1 minute while I figure out how not to die at sea?
Oh, I said that to someone. I didn't say the exact words, but I did say, "Can you spare us the bullshit and stop lying?" to someone in the middle of an English lesson in year 8, because they were telling me about how they got in their stepdad's car and started driving it down the road because they know how to fully drive at the age of 12, and I went, "Can you just spare us the bullshit for like 1 minute?" And I got bollocked for basically getting her upset, and it's like, "Mate, we know you're lying, fuck off." So after
what is it?
What?
Yeah, I was just about to say that why would someone say that, or they know how to fully drive when they don't? Like, come on. If you're gonna lie, make it believable. Life is boring. Needs to find some way to make it interesting. It's one of those. So after his outburst, Mateen's father arrived at the school to pick him up and slapped him in the face. I mean, to be fair, saying that you are happy about the 9/11 attacks, you deserve a slap in the face. With Mateen later being suspended for 5 days after this outburst, soon after the 9/11 attacks, he shocked the students on his school bus by imitating an exploding plane. Now, I know you've all seen the Brits wind up the Americans with stuff like that. It's not good. But this is right fucking after. That's definitely not good. Like, I think, honest to God, I bet, like he's a cunt. Like, he's a high school kid, but he's a fucking cunt. Let's face it. He's a fucking piece of shit. Like, he's a stupid little cunt. Like, kick him in the fucking head. I don't care. Like, what? He's an attention-seeking little prick. Especially at this point in time. He's an attention-seeking little prick. A retired Martin County High School dean, Dan Alley, fucking hell, if his name was called Dean and he was the dean, Jesus Christ, that poor bastard. No, his name's Dan Alley, said the school personnel tried to counsel him and show him the error of his ways, but it never had the effect that we were hoping for, and that his father would not back up the school and he would always take his son's side. Those parents, again. Mateen was later sent to St. Lucie West Centennial High School after getting into a fight with another student. By the time Mateen had returned and graduated from Martin County's Stewart Adult Vocational School in 2003, he had been suspended for 48 days for being involved in fights and injuring other students. Just get rid of him at this point. I don't see the point. All that's happening, I know there's not, just remove him from school, because all that's going on is he's getting into fights, he's getting suspended,
dad's picking him up, letting him get away with it, goes back to school, does it all again. He just gets time off school. That's all that's happening. He's getting time off school and pissing about. Just get rid of the fucking cunt. Mateen attended Indian River State College's criminal justice training program, and in a questionnaire he admitted to committing or being involved in a crime that went undetected, but did not provide specific details. He went on to earn an Associate of Science degree in Criminal Justice Technology from college in 2006. He worked in a number of local stores and restaurants while attending school. In October 2006, Mateen began working as a recruit for the Florida Department of Corrections, being assigned to the Martin Correctional Institution. In a letter explaining his juvenile record as part of his successful application, Mateen explained that the incident of when he was arrested at school when he was 14. He also wrote that he had experimented with weed as a young teenager, and following the Virginia Tech shooting in April 2007, Mateen suggested in a corrections officer training class that he would bring a gun to class. I don't know how his application was successful looking at that. But okay. P.H. Skipper, who was the warden at the institution, wrote that, in light of the tragic events at Virginia Tech, Officer Mateen's inquiry about bringing a weapon to class is at best extremely disturbing. I mean, yeah. A little bit. Days later, on the 27th of April 2007, Mateen was involuntarily dismissed from the program and never became a certified corrections officer. Not surprised. He then went on to work for British-based security firm G4S Secure Solutions in Jupiter, Florida from September 2007 until his death. Spoiler alert. Sorry.
Die quietly, please.
No. I shall do what I like. My mic, my rules. Oh, my eyes watering now. In 2010, Mateen, while working for G4S, was interviewed for and appeared in The Big Fix, the 2012 documentary about the Deepwater Horizon oil spill. Mateen said of those working on the cleanup, "Nobody gives a shit here. Everybody's just get out to get paid. They're like hoping for more oil to come out and more people to complain so they'll have jobs. They want more disasters to happen." Dude is tapped. G4S said 2 screenings of Mateen, one conducted upon hiring and the other in 2013, had raised no red flags. Under Florida state law, for him to work as an armed guard, the company was required to either make a full psychiatric evaluation of Mateen or to administer a validated written psychological test. The test administered was the updated Minnesota Multi-Phasic Personality Inventory, a test used for job screenings and court cases requiring those subjected to it to agree or disagree with statements such as, "My soul sometimes leaves my body," all this kind of stuff. Well, apparently it raised no red flags. Apparently it was completely clean, and they were completely fine with the test. They saw no issues. In 2006, Mateen filed a petition for a name change, adding Mateen as his surname to match that of his parents. In April 2009, Mateen married his first wife, Sitora Elisho. Oh, fuck's sake, Jesus Christ, give me a second. I'm so sorry, I will butcher names again. Sitora Alishazoda Yusufai, and an Uzbekistan-born woman who he met in 2008 through MySpace. They separated after 4 months and divorced in July 2011. That is very short marriage, fucking hell. Mateen visited Saudi Arabia for an 8-day trip in March 2011 and a 10-day trip in March 2012. The latter was organised by the Islamic Center at New York City University. It included 12 New York City police officers and groups from Columbia and Yale visited Mecca and Medina. Around this time, he went to the United Arab Emirates. FBI Director James Comey said Saudi officials helped investigate Mateen's trips. In June 2016, the House Intelligence Committee said that US investigators are searching for details about the Saudi Arabia trips. In 2011, Mateen met his second wife, Noor Zahi Salman, on an online dating site. The two married shortly afterward in Hercules, California on the 28th of September 2011. Before that, she was married to a Palestinian, Ahmed Abu Ramah, on the 8th of June 2005 to the 26th of February 2010, in an arranged marriage that was organised in Ramallah of the Palestinian territories. Salman grew up in Rodeo, California, as the eldest of 4 daughters, 2 Muslim Palestinian Arab immigrants, Bassam Abdallah Salman and Iqbal Zahi, a grocery store owner. Her family emigrated to California from Ramallah in the 1970s. She graduated from John Swett High School in 2004 and attended a business college in nearby Concord, California. If you are wondering why I'm talking about his wife, because she does get investigated. So technically, she's kind of an accomplice. She moved into Mateen's Fort Pierce home in November 2012. By September 2013, they were living in a house in Port St. Lucie with Mateen's father and another relative. She reportedly left Mateen and joined relatives in Rodeo by December 2015. At the time of his death, Mateen had a 3-year-old son with his second wife. At the time of the shooting, he lived about 100 miles from Orlando, Florida, in Fort Pierce, but received mail at his parents' home in nearby Port St. Lucie. According to Florida Department of Law Enforcement records, he had no criminal record in Florida. Mateen's father, Mir Sadiq Mateen, said of his son's actions, "This had nothing to do with religion." He was quoted as saying that he had seen his son get angry after witnessing a gay couple kiss in front of his family at the Bayside Marketplace in Miami months before the attack, which he suggested might have been a motivating factor. That should not even be a motivating factor. You've seen a gay couple kiss, so fucking what? Move on with your day. It should not cause you to want to kill this many people.
It's a fucked up thing that people still have that mentality where they don't like people who are in any form of the LGBT. It sickens me that people have that mindset. I've never had that mindset. I respect them in LGBT, but some people just... As someone who doesn't hate on the LGBT, you can't even explain it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You couldn't probably explain it why someone thinks like that, because it's just in someone's normal head, hating on the LGBT is just like, I don't understand, why can't someone just live a life they want to live? But apparently, according to others, that's not allowed, and people like that are backwards thinking.
Yep, it's just fucking stupid. The elder Mateen had formerly hosted a political TV show called Jagir Show on California-based satellite television network Payam-e-Afghan in 2015, in which he denounced the then Afghan President Ashraf Ghani, denounced the Pakistani government, self-expressed himself as a candidate for the president of Afghanistan, and had expressed gratitude towards the Taliban. In one video of his show, the elder Mateen seems to call on the Afghan Taliban, which he called "our warrior brothers," to solve the issue of the disputed Durand Line, which marks the present international border between Afghanistan and Pakistan. That's not looking good. Following the nightclub attack, Mateen's ex-wife told media outlets that during their marriage, Mateen was mentally unstable and would beat her and keep her completely separated from her family. She also said that he was bipolar, though he had never been given that diagnosis, and had a history of using steroids. Mateen's second wife also said that Mateen became physically and verbally abusive towards her 6 months into their marriage, though she noted him being kinder in the weeks leading up to the shooting. A former high school student told the Washington Post that he witnessed 14-year-old Mateen on the day of the September 11th, 2001 attacks being physically assaulted by his father, Mir Sadiq Mateen, in front of other students. Iman Safrik Rahman at the Fort Pierce Islamic Center told reports that Mateen would come to the mosque 3 or 4 times a week with his father and his 3-year-old son as recently as 2 days before the shooting, and said he was the most quiet guy. He would come and pray and leave, and there was no indication at all of any violence. Rahman added that he did not preach violence towards homosexuals. He obviously felt like obviously felt like he had to include that in just because people would definitely be going towards their community to kick off about what Mateen did, despite the fact it's not involving them. A former high school friend and co-worker said that Mateen had no obvious conflicts with his gay co-workers at Treasure Coast Square, a shopping mall at Jensen Beach. A former co-worker who worked with Mateen in a gated community in Western Port, St. Louis, described him as unhinged and unstable. He also said that he frequently made homophobic, racist and sexist comments and talked about killing people quite often. The co-worker stated he complained to G4A about Mateen several times. Another co-worker told the New York Times Mateen made people wait at the gate for a number of reasons, including if it was time for him to do his prayers. A resident who lived in the community since 2011 described Mateen as very polite and a very nice, positive person. However, another customer said Mateen acted like a straight-up predator. I think it doesn't matter what case you cover. Any case, there'll always be someone who just turns around and goes, "No, they were lovely. I never saw any of this coming. No, they were the nicest person on the planet." And then everyone else is just going, "Yeah, no, hated him."
It's weird because there's probably loads of people who are around him and witnessed him making these racist, homophobic comments and probably did nothing.
Yep.
And seen the way he acted. I know at the time of this, it was 2016?
Yep.
I mean, surely around then people would have been saying, "Whoa, you can't do that." And yes, there's the thing where people could be like, woke, woke, woke. I mean, man's being homophobic and he's being racist. In this day and age, you shouldn't be allowing folk to be out like that. You know, if some people I knew were like that, I'd be like, "Whoa, come on now." And it's bad that people say this stuff now, thinking it's funny, it's jokeable, and it's not. You know, you shouldn't be saying that stuff. And if you're around people who are saying that and you don't do anything, then you know, disassociate yourself with people who are against that sort of stuff and are acting like that.
So, several people who knew Mateen have speculated that he might have been gay or bisexual. A male friend of his from 2006, when the two were in police academy together, said that Mateen went to gay clubs with him and that Mateen once expressed an interest in dating him. Club goers also recalled Mateen dancing with another man. One classmate who asked not to be identified by name said Mateen asked him if he was gay. The FBI has investigated many of these claims but has not found reasonable evidence to establish Mateen's sexual orientation.
Would he, though, have...
I don't know.
If he was gay, would he have then been being homophobic and making fun of gay people to hide the fact he was?
People have done it.
Yeah, I'm just saying that because that's what I thought. I've heard of people doing that, where they poke fun at that to hide the fact and make it seem as though they're not, which I don't understand that. Why would you make fun of something and then just be that? I feel like how could you be accepted into that community if you're then making fun of it, especially in your local area?
I don't know. I've never been in that situation where I've done that, so I have no idea. So after the shooting, the Orlando Sentinel and the Palm Beach Post reported that at least 5 regular customers at the Pulse Nightclub had seen Mateen visit the venue on at least a dozen occasions. Sometimes Mateen drank in a corner by himself, and other times he would get so drunk he was loud and belligerent. A witness who recognised Mateen outside the club an hour before the shootings told investigators that Mateen had been messaging him for about a year using a gay dating app called Jacked. He gave his...
Oh, not Grindr?
There's more than Grindr.
Well, Grindr's the only one that I know. And I've seen how it operates because one of my people is on it.
It'll be one of those,
one of the people I know.
It'll be one of those where like Grindr's more used for hookups, like how Tinder is now.
Yeah, I see. I'm mentioning Grindr on the fact that someone I know, they used Grindr and they showed me how it worked. And there was some stuff, the way it worked was like, damn, it's so easy to kind of see a profile, message, and that sort of thing. And I'm not shitting on it, but like compared to the dating apps I used back in the day, I don't use them now because I have a wonderful, most amazing and beautiful girlfriend. But like I was like, wow, you can easily message folk and stuff like that. And there was a lot of people, it seemed like it was easy to exchange stuff. So I'm like, I wonder how much stuff goes on there, of how easy it is to go away and do stuff. Not in a bad sense, but like the dating apps I've used, it took quite a lot before you actually got to speaking to someone. But I that's why I hear some stories of like hookups or dodgy stuff or bad stuff that's happened on Grindr, with how easy you can hide yourself and message folk with ease. But it's maybe not as bad now. But
Tinder's quite easy. It's the whole like, you swipe right, you can match, and you can message each other. Hinge is more, you have a bunch of things about yourself, and then people reply back to either the picture of you or like the picture of you.
Or like one of your...
Or they reply back to one of your questions, and you can choose if you want to accept.
And Hinge has voice notes.
Yeah, but that doesn't happen until you... Yeah, you can... Yeah, they have voice notes, but you can add that on if you want to. You don't have to have it, but it's like people reply back to things on your profile, and you can choose whether or not you want to reply back to it. You don't have to do anything.
Uh-huh. So and like, Bumble is the one where females have to message first.
Yeah. Well, women. Don't say females, it's weird.
Sorry, women have to message first. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. And then, well, the one I found luck on was Facebook dating, which is basically Facebook, but dating in a more simpler sense.
Yeah.
The only thing with that, when I used it, which was a blessing in disguise, you could see when you came across a profile if they were friends with any of the friends you were friends with. So then it made it that sort of... Yes, I was a bit worried about that, because like, oh, fuck, I might come across people that I know.
Oh, yeah, but you get that on Tinder.
Yeah, but then at the same time, I was like, oh, this person knows other people I know, so there was more of a sense of knowing, because like, oh, you know them, oh, I know them, so it's not like you completely don't know each other at all. You knew people together, but you just didn't, friends are friends.
The worst thing is, like, on Tinder is, like, if you found someone that you knew, like, you swiped and you found someone that you knew, and you kind of just sat there going, I'm kind of curious if we'd match. Like, I don't want anything to happen, but, like, you're just kind of like,
yeah.
Like, did they swipe right at me? And the curiosity gets the better of you. And then, before you know it, you've swiped right, you've matched, and you're like, shit, fuck. And then you're like, oh, maybe they did the same thing, like, they saw me and wanted to wonder as well, like, if I'd found them and done the same thing, or maybe it's one of those. And then 9 times out of 10, that's not the case. 9 times out of 10, they're like, I didn't know you felt that way about me. You're like, shit, no. Fuck.
Yeah.
I've done that once, and I did that once, years and years ago, did that once, and the person in question kept, whenever I saw them, they'd be like, oh, do you remember that time where we both matched each other on Tinder? And I'm like, fuck's sake. I was curious, right? Fuck's sake, what have I done? Shit.
But hey, it's now it's people who are going to have to tell us how the dating apps work, because I'm never ever ever going to be using a dating app ever again, because I have the love of my life. And the same with you.
I met Jacob in person. I think that's what made it better.
Oh well, I use the dating apps, and that's.
I've met people on dating apps. I've mostly just become friends with them in the end.
Yeah.
Nothing's ever been like successful romantically out of dating apps for me, but I met Jacob in a nightclub, so... And well, I guess that relates to this, but, all I can say is that, as much as I had the mindset of dating apps might not work, there's someone out there for you. Dating apps can garner success, and you can find the love of your life, or you can meet them in a club. Clubs aren't always a bad place. Yes, stuff like this happens, and it's horrible what's going to be described in this case, but... you get that with loads of places that could be off vibes, but hey, I wouldn't say to anyone, don't be put off going to a club or using dating apps, because you can maybe find the love of your life. You just have to wait, patience, and when you do find them, it's the most rewarding thing in the entire world, more than anything else. So yeah, people are claiming that he might have been very much in the closet. So this guy that has claimed that he met Mateen on a dating app called Jacked. He gave his phone to the FBI for analysis, along with his login details for the app.
Ooh, wait, I'm just thinking, maybe he didn't say that because I'm not sure what the LGBT rights are for people who are from Afghanistan. Maybe he might have been disowned by his parents.
This is why a lot of people are speculating, because obviously he wouldn't be able to fucking say anything anyway.
Otherwise, I don't know what...
Yeah, well, he lives in America, so technically they can't do shit, but they'd disown him most likely.
Yeah, I don't think he'd even be allowed to go back to his country. It might be that severe.
Wait, no, he's not from there.
No, but like if he had family...
yeah, no, but it's not his country because he's not from there.
No, but his parents and stuff are from...
Yeah, no, so they can't send him back because he's not fucking been.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is if he ever went back to... if he went to Afghanistan to see family... and then they got word that he was LGBT. Maybe he couldn't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That some people can't go. I know he's not from there, but like his family are, so he might not be able to since. But I don't know how bad it is. But I know some countries in Asia are very, very, very bad for LGBT, and anyone who's part of that community gets heavily punished. To some places, death penalty, I still believe, is enforced.
Reason why I flat out refuse to ever go to Dubai. I don't care how many people tell me that.
Oh, it was Dubai. Do they not?
No, yeah, very, very, very heavily against, like, prison.
A nation that's like wealthy, rich, money.
Yeah, because they don't have tax, and this is why loads of people are like, "Oh, go to Dubai. It's way better. Go to Dubai." And I'm just like, no, because like, despite the fact that in technicality. Yes, if you want to use it, I am passing as people. I'm with Jacob, so people just go, "Oh yeah, but you'd be fine," because people just think you're straight. It's like, yeah, but I'm not. I don't fucking care. Like, just because I'm in a relationship with a guy does not make it change that I'm bisexual at any.
Same with my girlfriend's bisexual, so she'd be the same.
Yeah, it doesn't change anything if you're with someone if you're with the opposite sex. It doesn't change fucking anything. Going to Dubai is not safe for people like me or people in my community. It's not safe, and that's why I'm so heavily. I don't like it. So whenever someone's like, "I'm gonna go move over there," I'm like, "Right, you can go do that, but I'm not fucking going."
Can you not even mention anything LGBT without getting in trouble?
I wouldn't risk it.
But it's one of those things where, like, if you just in conversation mentioned...
No, I wouldn't. You wouldn't. I wouldn't risk it. I wouldn't risk shit. Because I don't know what this person is. I don't know the person who I'm talking to. I don't know people around me. If people overheard something and then reported me, I'm fucked.
But that's the thing where, like, it's just a general thing for us to mention something LGBT in a conversation and not think, oops, I shouldn't have said that. But, you know, if you went over there, and even if because I'm not gay, but if I went over there accidentally in a conversation just happened to mention something LGBT, I might get heavily penalised for it.
Yeah, it's not.
Even though I just said it, you know.
Head, it's not worth the risk, and I'm not doing it. But anyway,
I'm not saying that I purposely do it. It's just that I'd have no idea even saying it could get me in trouble.
Yeah, that's why I wouldn't go over there, because that's why I'm like, I'm not risking anything.
It's like, even if I just had a conversation saying, I do a podcast, you know, I have a co-host, and then I just said, oh, Lauren, she's bisexual, and just me saying that, boof, I'm in trouble. That's like a scary thing.
Obviously, I don't.
You know.
Obviously, I'm going to say this now. We don't know if that's actually the case of what happens.
No.
There, but I would rather. I like knowing I'm safe here. In a way.
It's just scary that even saying a word like that, you can get in trouble. Oof.
It's scary.
How lucky we are to live in a country where it's not that severe with the LGBT.
So, a third witness said that Mateen tries to pick up men at the nightclub. Dozens of other witnesses, however, told the Tampa Bay Times that they had never seen Mateen at the nightclub. A spokesperson for Barbara Palmer, the owner of the Pulse Nightclub, called the statement that Mateen had been a regular patron untrue and totally ridiculous. People will make up, but the thing is, this, like, there'll be speculation and everything, but genuinely, a lot of people would just blurt out bullshit that might not even be true just for the sake of it. It's like, you know, when some people, there'll be a crime and then there'll always be one person who will turn around and try and come up with some stuff to have sympathy for the criminal. They'll come up with a story that shows sympathy for the criminal. I'm just like, does not fucking matter. Shouldn't have done it. Like, with this, it's like, oh, but he might have been closeted. Don't care. Don't care. It's a weird thing. Like, he could have been. We don't know. No one will ever know this. But his dad obviously got asked this question, like, do you think your son was closeted? And felt like it wasn't a comfortable environment for him to come out. Think that, like, part of his actions could have been due to this. His dad has denied that his son was closeted. He said if he was gay, why would he do something like this? Which is a valid point. Like, is a very good point. Like, if he was gay, why would he go into a gay nightclub and kill a bunch of people?
I mean, it's the most extreme of hiding the fact he was by doing that.
This is my point. It's like, okay, all these theories, fine. There's a theory for pretty much everything. But despite everything that his dad's obviously done in the past, he's got a point. 2 days later, after multiple reports questioned whether Mateen was homosexual, Mateen's father said, I didn't see any of it, and I don't believe that was the case. Obviously, you can't tell if, like, there's no freaking paintbrush that you can paint people with to basically be like, oh, definitely. I hate when people go, oh, I could tell, and like, you can just tell by looking at someone. It's like, no, you can't. Like, just shush. It's like, it's a grey area, but, like, saying I didn't see any of it, and I couldn't tell, you can't, I didn't think so, like, you never know, but in this case, I'm going to say outright, I don't think he was, because why would you go and do something like this, if you were? To me, it makes no sense. However, during an interview with the Brazilian television station SBT Brazil, Mateen's ex-wife claimed that his father called him gay while in her presence, probably using it as an insult. Following the shooting, Mateen's father stated in an online video in his native language, in the month of Ramadan, the gay and lesbian issue is something that God will punish, though the servants of God shouldn't have anything to do with it. The Wall Street Journal reported Mateen's ex-wife as saying that he did feel strongly about homosexuality. When asked if Mateen was gay, his ex-wife said she didn't know and recalled that he had confessed to going to nightclubs. We'll never know. I don't think he was, but we'll never know. On the 16th of June, the New York Times reported that the FBI was skeptical of reports that Mateen was gay but closeted and that he had made use of homosexual bars and apps. On the 18th of June, the same source added that federal officials say they have found no evidence in his effects or online presence to back them up. On the 23rd of June, the Los Angeles Times reported that the FBI has found no evidence to support claims by those who say Mateen had gay lovers or communicated on gay dating apps. Investigators consider at least one claimant of homosexual relationships with Mateen as not credible. A man who self-identified as Mateen's lover of 2 months, Miguel, had said that he believed a massacre was committed in revenge of... He believed a massacre was committed in revenge against Latino men, following Mateen learning that he may have been exposed to HIV from a Puerto Rican man with whom he had sex with. However, his autopsy results say he didn't have HIV. So this is possibly not true. This is possibly someone who has made up that they were dating him. Either way, not an excuse again. I'll say this all the way through this episode. Every single time someone goes, oh, maybe you did this because of this, don't care. Not an excuse. Don't care. On the 25th of June, the New York Times reported that after extensive investigation with help from the FBI, the gay dating network Adam for Adam concluded that Mateen had never used the app. With regard to reports of Mateen using it and other dating sites and apps for gay men, an Adam for Adam spokesman said, I think it was a hoax. The article stated that after 500 interviews, the FBI had not found any evidence of homosexuality through Mateen's web searches, emails, and other electronic data. The FBI reported that they had found evidence that Mateen was cheating on his wife with another woman, though. So he was cheating on his wife, but not with a guy. I don't think he was closeted. I genuinely don't. The FBI investigated Mateen previously, before the shooting. In May 2013, after he had made inflammatory remarks while working as a security guard, Mateen had told his co-workers that his family was linked to Al-Qaeda and that he had joined Hezbollah, both rivals of the Islamic State and of one another. Mateen had pledged allegiance to IS during his 2016 shooting. FBI Director James Comey commented on the contradictions within Mateen's statements. The FBI interviewed Mateen twice after opening the investigation. In these interviews, Mateen admitted to making the statements, but explained that he had said them in anger because his co-workers were teasing him. After 10 months, the investigation was closed and Mateen determined not to be a threat. Mateen had been on a terrorist watch list while the investigation was underway, but he was removed from it afterwards. However, he obviously came into the FBI's attention once again in July 2014 when he was linked to Mona Mohammed Abu Salah, an American who had travelled to Syria and committed a suicide bombing in late May 2014. The two had been acquainted and attended the same mosque. The investigation continued, but focused mostly on Abu Salah rather than Mateen, law enforcement officials told the Wall Street Journal. U.S. Representative Adam Schiff, the ranking Democratic member of the House Intelligence Committee, said that according to the Department of Homeland Security, Mateen had pledged allegiance to IS, though analysis noted that at this point, it's anyone's guess as to how involved Omar Mateen was with either Al-Qaeda or IS. Mateen had also pledged support for a suicide bomber who was claimed to represent the Al-Nusra Front, a Syrian branch of Al-Qaeda and an opponent of IS. After Mateen's attack, the FBI determined his computer had been used to watch extremist videos, including beheadings, and to seek information on Islamic State. His wife knew that he watched these kind of videos. Sorry. But she didn't think much of it because the FBI seemed to have cleared him. A survivor of the shooting said Mateen talked about wanting the United States to stop bombing in my country and confirmed that Mateen pledged allegiance to IS. 2 months before the attack, Mateen transferred his share of the Port St. Louis home for only $10 to his sister and brother-in-law. Mateen legally purchased a Sig Sauer Sig MCX semi-automatic rifle and a 9... Fuck's sake. Why is it? This cough kicks in at the worst times. I did it yesterday when I was on the tram home from work. Hadn't coughed like 2 hours. Got on the tram, constant, the entire time, and I was like, are you kidding me? I am so sorry about this. Yeah, he purchased a Sig Sauer Sig MCX semi-automatic rifle and a 9mm Glock 17 handgun, the two firearms later used in the shooting, from a gun shop in Port St. Lucie 2 weeks before the shooting. He also attempted to purchase body armour but was unable to do so as the store where he tried to make the purchase did not sell the product he sought. Several weeks before the attack, he attempted to purchase body armour and 1,000 rounds of bulk ammunition at another gun shop, but the staff became suspicious of him and turned him away. A salesperson at the shops then said he contacted the FBI, but federal officials said they had no record of such a report, and the local sheriff's office also said it was unaware of the incident. ABC News and Fox News reported that early in the morning of the 12th of June, the day of the attack, Mateen posted on one of his Facebook accounts, "The real Muslims will never accept the filthy ways of the West. You kill innocent women and children by doing us airstrikes. Now taste the Islamic State vengeance." as well as America and Russia stop bombing the Islamic State. His final post to Facebook was, "In the next few days, you'll see attacks from the Islamic State in the USA." These posts, since deleted, were uncovered by the United States Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs. So he literally, for weeks beforehand, was telling people what he was going to do, and no one flagged it. Like, I don't really pay much attention to what people post on Facebook, but if I saw that, would report it, because I'd be a bit like, right, this is a bit concerning. Someone needs to know about this, like 100%. I don't know how no one flagged it, but then again, I guess it depends on who you have on Facebook, because if people you have on Facebook think the same way, or you have that in common, they're not going to flag it. Officials briefed on the investigation also said Mateen went to an unspecified Walt Disney World theme park with his wife. He visited both Disney parks where security is less strict than at Disney theme parks, and Pulse between the 1st of June and 6th during the Gay Days 2016 celebrations at Disney World and in the Orlando area. So he went to, because obviously during June it's Pride Month, and obviously a lot of places are going to have themed days on during that month. So they went to both Disney parks during the time where they were literally doing Pride themed events. An imam for a mosque in Kissimmee said Mateen prayed there with his wife and child during the week preceding the shooting. He released video footage showing what appeared to be Mateen on the 8th of June, 4 days before the shooting, praying for about 10 minutes. Hours before the attack, Mateen stopped by his parents' home to visit his father, who said he did not notice anything strange about his son during the visit. That same day, Mateen gave his second wife, Noor Salman, $1,000 and allowed her to depart to visit her mother in California. Bear in mind, he's kept his wife very restricted to their home only. So the fact that so right before the shooting, he's like, "No, you can go see your mum now. Go." On the 14th of June 2016, NBC News reported that Noor Salman told the FBI she drove him once to the gay nightclub Pulse because he wanted to scope it out. The FBI was almost immediately aware that this was not true due to its review of cell phone location records from the day in question. Mateen had searched for Orlando nightclub locations in the evening before the attack. An official involved with the investigation told the Associated Press that authorities believed she knew about the plot beforehand, but were reluctant to charge her based only on this suspicion. Days before the shooting, she had accompanied Mateen on a shopping trip where he purchased ammunition while she was elsewhere buying a child's toy. She warned him the evening before the event against anything that he might be planning. So the day before he did it, she was warning him against anything that he might be planning. She's like, "You're clearly planning something. I wouldn't do it if I were you." Obviously, whatever she clearly said to him did not work. On the 30th of March 2018, an Orlando jury found her not guilty as the prosecution had not met its burden of providing proof that she knew about it and was involved. So she got arrested for possibly knowing what was going to happen and helping plan, and she was found not guilty because there was literally no proof of it. But she is heavily suspected of knowing about it beforehand. So now that we've done the beforehand stuff, the day in question. So on the 11th of June 2016, Pulse, a gay nightclub in Orlando, Florida, was hosting a Latin night, a weekly Saturday night event drawing primarily Latino crowd. RuPaul's Drag Race contestant and drag queen Kenya Michaels is recorded to have been performing right as the shooting began. Kenya Michaels did survive the attack as well, just want to point out. About 320 people were still inside the club, which was serving last call drinks at around 2 a.m. on the 12th of June. Around the same time, Omar Mateen arrived at the club via a rental van, parking it in the parking lot of the neighbouring car shop. He got out, walked towards the building armed with a Sig Sauer MCX semi-automatic rifle and a 9mm Glock 17 semi-automatic rifle. He was wearing a green, blue and white plaid dress shirt, a white t-shirt underneath and tan cargo pants. At 2:02 a.m, Mateen bypassed Officer Adam Gruller, a ununiformed off-duty Orlando Police Department officer working extra duty as a security guard. He entered the building through its southern entrance and began shooting patrons. Dozens were killed or severely injured inside the crowded nightclub, either directly or by ricochets. Gruller took cover and called in a signal for assistance. He told a post-incident Police Foundation assessment team that he had immediately recognised that his handgun would be severely disadvantaged against the rifle that Mateen was using. When he witnessed Mateen shooting two patrons attempting to escape through an emergency exit, Gruller fired shots at him. In response, Mateen withdrew back into the nightclub and continued shooting victims as he transversed through the building, sometimes firing into bodies without checking whether they were already dead. When additional officers arrived at the nightclub beginning at 2:04 a.m, Gruller shouted, "The gunman's in the patio," and resumed firing at Mateen a minute later. Two officers joined Gruller in engaging Mateen, who then retreated farther into the nightclub and began a hostage situation in one of the bathrooms. In less than 5 minutes, Mateen had fired 200 rounds, pausing only to reload. During the shooting, some of the people trapped inside the club sought help by calling or sending text messages to friends and relatives. Initially, some of them thought the gunshots were firecrackers or part of the music. Imran Yousaf, a recently discharged Marine Corps veteran working as a nightclub bouncer, immediately recognised the sounds as gunfire, which he described as high calibre, and jumped over a locked door behind which dozens of people were hidden and paralysed by fear. He then opened a latch door behind them, allowing 70 people to escape. Many described a scene of panic and confusion caused by the loud music and darkness. One person shielded herself by hiding inside a bathroom and covering herself with bodies. A bartender said she took cover beneath the glass bar. At least one patron tried to help those who were hit. According to a man trapped inside a bathroom with 15 other people, Mateen fired 16 times into the bathroom through the closed door, killing at least 2 and wounding several others. According to one of the hostages, Mateen entered a bathroom in the nightclub's northwest side and opened fire on the people hiding in there, wounding several others. The hostage, who had taken cover inside a store with others, was injured by 2 bullets and struck with flying pieces of a wall hit by stray bullets. Shortly after entering the women's bathroom, Mateen's rifle jammed. He then discarded the rifle and switched to his Glock 17 pistol. 2 survivors quoted Mateen as saying, I don't have a problem with black people, and that he wouldn't stop his assault until America stopped bombing his country. Other survivors said Mateen claimed he had explosives as well as snipers stationed around the club. Obviously he didn't, but it was to cause fear. People trapped inside called or texted 911 to warn of the possible presence of explosives. Over the next 45 minutes, about 100 officers from the OPD and Orange County Sheriff's Office were dispatched to the scene. Among the earliest first responders to arrive were a fire crew from Fire Station 5 and 2 supporting firefighter paramedics from Fire Station 7. 80 fire and emergency medical services personnel from the Orlando Fire Department were deployed during the entire incident. At 2:09 a.m, several minutes after the gunfire began, the club posted on its Facebook page, Everyone get out of Pulse and keep running." At 2:22 a.m, Mateen placed a 911 call. during which he mentioned the Boston Marathon bombers and he referenced them as his homeboys and made a reference to Mona Mohammed Abu Salah, an American citizen who died in the suicide bombing in Syria in 2014. Mateen said he was inspired by his death for the Al-Nusra Front targeting Syrian government troops and swore allegiance to IS leader al-Baghdadi. The FBI said that Mateen made 2 other 911 calls during the shooting. Numerous 911 calls were made by the people inside the nightclub around this time as well. So, phones ringing off the freaking hook. After the initial rounds of gunfire between Mateen and Gruller, 6 officers shot out a large glass window and followed the sound of shooting to the bathroom area. When Mateen stuck his head out from one of the bathrooms, at least 2 officers shot at him. After the gunfire stopped, they were ordered to hold position instead of storming the bathroom. This was according to one of the officers. After about 15 to 20 minutes, SWAT teams arrived and had the officers withdraw as the officers were not really in tactical gear. SWAT then took over the operation. When asked why the officers didn't proceed to the bathroom and engage Mateen, Orlando Police Chief John Mina said it was because Mateen went from an active shooter to a barricaded gunman, and he had hostages, so they had to think about the hostages in this situation. He also noted if he had continued shooting, our officers would have gone in there. But at that time, the last shot by Mateen was fired between 2:10 to 18 minutes past 2 in the morning. So yeah, because now he's barricaded himself in with other people. That he's got hostages. The police have to think about the hostages in the situation. They can't just be thinking about, okay, we need to get him, because if they go charged in there, he could. Well, if he hears that they're coming to charge in there after him, he could literally easily shoot every single hostage that he has in that room. And obviously, they want to avoid having any more casualties in this situation. Rescues of people trapped inside the nightclub commenced and continued throughout the night. Because so many people were lying on the dance floor, one officer demanded, "If you're alive, raise your hand." Because in this situation, like, if I was in this situation, I would literally play dead. Obviously, he's firing gunshots at people who are laying on the floor, regardless if they're dead or not, to check. But the best situation would be to play dead, so obviously everyone's too scared to move at this point if they are doing that exact thing. By 2:35 a.m, police had managed to extract nearly all of the injured from the nightclub. Those who remained included the hostages held by Mateen in the bathroom, as well as a dozen people who were hiding inside dressing rooms. At 2:45 a.m, Mateen called News 13 of Orlando and said, "I'm the shooter, it's me, I'm the shooter." He then said that he was carrying out the shooting on behalf of IS and began speaking rapidly in Arabic. Mateen also said that the shooting was triggered by a US-led bombing strike in Iraq that killed Abu Wahib, an IS military commander, on the 6th of May. A crisis negotiator was present as Mateen was held up inside and holding hostages. Officers initially believed he was armed with a suspicious device that posed a threat, but it was later revealed to be a battery that fell out of an exit sign or smoke detector, so it wasn't an explosive. Police hostage negotiators spoke with Mateen by telephone 3 times between 2:48 a.m. and 3:27 a.m. He claimed during one of the calls that he had bombs strapped to his body. He also claimed that he had a vehicle in the parking lot with enough explosives to take out city blocks. At 3:48 a.m, the OPD publicly announced the shooting and confirmed multiple injuries. At 4:21 a.m, 8 of the hostages escaped after police had removed an air conditioning unit from an extractor wall. At 4:29 a.m, Mateen told negotiators that he planned to strap explosive vests similar to those used in the November Paris attacks. 4 hostages strategically placed them in different corners of the building and detonated them in 15 minutes. OPD officers then decided to end negotiations and prepared to blow their way in. Basically, end negotiations, go in straight away so he doesn't have time to do that, and get this out of the way. Get this sorted out now. Around 2:30 a.m, Mateen's wife, after receiving a call from her mother at 2 a.m. asking where her husband was, sent a text message to Mateen asking where he was. Mateen texted back asking her if she had seen the news. After she replied no, Mateen responded, "I love you, babe." According to one source, she texted him back at one point saying that she loved him. She also called him several times during the standoff, but he did not answer. She found out about what was happening at around 4 a.m. after the police told her to come out of her house with her hands up. A survivor of the shooting recalled Mateen saying he wanted the United States to stop bombing his country. This was obviously I've said this before, but he was saying this over and over and over again throughout this entire thing. The FBI said Mateen told a negotiator to tell America to stop bombing Syria and Iraq, and that this was why he was out here right now. During the siege, Mateen made internet searches on the shooting, whilst police dispatched a tactical robot to discreetly enter the restroom and allow them to communicate with hostages via two-way audio. So, he's got these hostages, and he's sat there on his phone researching the shooting that he has caused, which is so egotistical. But I'm not surprised he's got an ego and he feels like he has to do this, but the fact that he's actually gone and done it is just so fucking disgusting. Like, there's no sense with this man, but it's just the fact that he's literally Googling himself. Pretty much. That's just so freaking disgusting. The FBI reported that no shots were heard between the time Mateen stopped exchanging gunfire with the first responders and 5:02 a.m. When Orlando police began breaching the building's wall, just before the breach, Mateen entered a woman's bathroom where the hostages were hiding and opened fire, killing a man who sacrificed his life to save the woman behind him and at least one other, according to witnesses. At 5:07, 14 SWAT officers, after failing to blow open a big enough hole in the bathroom's exterior wall using a bomb due to the wall structure, successfully breached the building when a policeman drove a Bearcat armoured vehicle through a wall in the northern bathroom. They then used 2 flashbangs to distract Mateen and shot at him. The breach drew Mateen out into the hallway, and at 5:14 a.m. he engaged the officers. He was shot 8 times and killed in the resulting shootout, which involved at least 11 officers who fired about 150 bullets. He was reported down at 5:17 a.m. So he died through police shooting him at the end of it all.
I mean, I kind of suspected it would be like a standoff where they just shoot him there and then.
Yeah.
I knew it wouldn't be one when they take him into custody. I knew he'd die right there and then because he probably wasn't going to give up.
I mean, yeah, he definitely wasn't going to give up. So. Yeah, he was definitely never going to give up. That was literally the only way that was going to end.
I mean, it's absolutely wild. I mean, I looked at the Pulse Nightclub on maps to get an idea. It's not really big.
No. It's about the size of a normal nightclub.
Yeah, and it's weird because on maps, from this point I'm looking at, the Google car went by so many times, but it's May 2016, which is a month, just under a month before it happened. And then when you go to the next year or any of the other years, they've got this massive wall round which has the most insane mural I've ever seen. So many tributes and stuff on this mural, but it's like a massive wall around the place, as if, you know, the security level's been upped. And it's so nice, all the stuff that people have left, the messages and everything. But like, it's, you know, a place right out in the open. And even the walkway across from it is an LGBT walkway.
Yeah.
A crosswalk, I should say. But it just seems like a genuine nice place. And what's scary is, because it's somewhere like a club, it's so just like, I don't want to say packed, but you know how a club is like a condensed area? Like, there's no windows, none of this. It's just like a room.
Yeah.
Where, like, escaping isn't as easy because there's only like one way to go, or that's the door, you know what I mean? And maybe one fire exit.
Yeah.
but there's no sense of just being able to just like run out of anywhere. You're kind of so enclosed. So when bullets start flying everywhere, they'll ricochet, they'll just hit whoever, and there's so many people in the same vicinity because you're in a club and it's very busy, which it probably wasn't that night. Loads of randomers next to you. You have space, but you're quite cramped, kind of like sardines. So as soon as stuff happening, there's no place to like run anywhere because you'll be running into other folk and there's panic, everyone ducking, all this. It's just utter chaos.
I mean, yeah, when you think about it, yeah. So at 5:05 a.m, the police said a bomb squad had set off a controlled explosion. At 5:35 a.m, the Orlando police posted on Twitter, "Pulse Shooting, the shooter inside the club is dead." 30 hostages were freed during the police operation. Survivors were searched by police for guns and explosives. Obviously, he had said the threat that he will put explosives on the hostages. They were searched, they were fine. But 49 people died that night. Obviously, plus Mateen. But we don't count him as part of the lost lives, because fuck that. So 49 people died that night. And another 58 were injured. 53 by gunfire and 5 by other causes. Some survivors were critically injured. 39, including Mateen, were pronounced dead at the scene, and 11 at local hospitals. Of the 38,
wow.
Yeah. Of the 38 victims to die at the scene, 20 died on the stage area and dance floor, 9 in the nightclub's northern bathroom, and 4 in the southern bathroom. 3 on the stage, and 1 at the front lobby, and 1 out on the patio. At least 5 of the dead were not killed during the initial volley of gunfire by Mateen, but during the hostage situation in the bathroom. Pulse was hosting a Latin night this night. Over 90% of the victims were of Hispanic background, and half of those were of Puerto Rican descent. 4 Dominicans and 3 Mexican citizens were also among the dead. An off-duty United States Army Reserve captain at the club who was not in uniform was also killed. The attack was the deadliest mass shooting by a single shooter in United States history until the 2017 Las Vegas shooting. It is also the deadliest incident of violence against the LGBTQ+ community in the history of the United States.
Wow.
Surpassing the 1973 upstairs lounge arson attack, and the deadliest terrorist attack in the United States since the September 11 attacks in 2001.
Wow.
I'm going to read out the names of the people who lost their lives that day, because that's always important. I will also include the names in the description as well for this episode, because I feel like that's also important. So the names and ages of the victims killed were confirmed by the city of Orlando after their next of kin had been notified. I will try and make sure I say these names correctly. I'm so sorry if I don't. Stanley Almodovar III, who was 23. Amanda Oliva, who was 25. Oscar A. Oxina Montero, who was 26. Rodolfo Alaya, who was 33. Alejandro Barrios Martinez, who was 21, Martin Benitez Torres, who was 33, Antonio D. Brown, who was 30, Jonathan A. Gamay Vega, who was 24, Angel L. Calenterio Padro, who was 28, Simon A. Carrillo Fernandez, who was 31, Juan Chavez Martinez, who was 25, Luis D. Condi, who was 39, Corey J. Cannell, who was 21, Tavin E. Crosby, who was 25, Frankie J. De Jesus Beliguez, who was 50, Dacona D. Drayton, who was 32, Mercedes M. Flores, who was 26, Peter O. Gonzalez Cruz, who was 22, Juan R. Guerrero, who was 22, Paul T. Henry, who was 41, Frank Hernandez, who was 27, Miguel A. Honorato, who was 30, Javier Jorge Reyes, who was 40, Jason B. Jasfat, who was 19, Eddie J. Justice, who was 30, Anthony L. Loreno de Silla, who was 25, Christopher A. Leonon, who was 32, Brenda L. Marquez McCool, who was 49, Sean C. Menendez Perez, who was 35, Akra Monet Murray, who was 18, Kimberly Morris, who was 37, Jean C. Neves Rodriguez, who was 27, Luis O. Ocasio Capo, who was 20, Geraldo A. Ortiz Jimenez, who was 25, Eric Ivan Ortez Rivera, who was 36, Joel Reynan Panagia, who was 32, Enrique L. Rios Jr., who was 25, Juan P. Rivera Franquiles, who was 37, Yomari Rodriguez Sullivan, who was 24, Xavier Emmanuel Sonaro Rosado, who was 35, Gilberto Ramon Silva Menendez, who was 25, Edward Sotomayor Jr., who was 34, Shane E. Tomlinson, who was 33, Leroy Valentinin Fernandez, who was 25, Luis S. Belmia, who was 22, Luis Daniel Wilson Leon, who was 37, Gerald A. Wright, who was 31. Autopsies of the 49 declared dead were completed by the Orange County Medical Examiner's Office by the 14th of June, and their results were released in early August. According to the autopsy reports, many of the victims were shot multiple times in the front or side and from a short distance. More than a third were shot in the head, and most of multiple bullet wounds, and were likely shot more than 3 feet away. In total, there were over 200 gunshot wounds. Many of the injured underwent surgery, most of them being 44 people, were taken to the Orlando Regional Medical Center, the primary regional trauma center 3 blocks away. 12 others went to Florida Hospital Orlando. 9 of the ORMC's patients died there, and by June 14th, 27 remained hospitalized and 6 in critical condition. ORMC performed surgeries on 76 patients. The last of the injured was discharged from ORMC on the 6th of September, nearly 3 months after the shooting. 3 Colombians and 2 Canadians were among the injured. Additionally, a responding SWAT officer received a minor head injury when a bullet hit his Kevlar helmet. Security camera footage was recovered from the nightclub as part of the investigation, with a censored version later publicly released during the trial of Mateen's wife. Facebook activated its safety check feature in the Orlando area following the shooting, allowing users to mark themselves as safe to notify family and friends. A lot of you will know that feature because a lot of people, obviously, it's a great tool to have. I just do hate that I see a lot of people who are in like a different country put themselves as safe for it. Kind of weirds me out, but I do like the feature. I think it's a great feature. She gets some people that abuse it. This was the first of the feature in the US. Following the shooting, many business ventures in the US, such as shopping malls, movie theaters, bars, and concert halls, re-examined their security procedures. Also, police force across the country announced plans to increase security at LGBT landmarks such as the Stonewall Inn and at Pride Month events, including Pride parades. Sadiq Mateen released a Dari language video statement via Facebook on the 13th of June to speak about his son's actions. On the day of the attack, IS had released a statement via a Mac news agency taking responsibility for the attack. On the 13th of June, a broadcast from the Iraq IS radio station Al Bayan said Mateen was one of the soldiers of the Caliphate in America, without indicating any foreknowledge to the shooting. Mateen's second wife and widow was arrested in January 2017 at her home in Rodeo, California. She was charged in federal court in Orlando with aiding and abetting, as well as an obstruction of justice. She was found not guilty on the charges. However, the jury, when they declared her as not guilty, they said, we were convinced that she did know, but they did acquit her of the charges. So, despite acquitting her, they were kind of like, we kind of are convinced that she did know exactly what was going on. Well, not exactly what was going on, but she knew something about his plans for an attack in some sort in advance, which I do kind of believe, because the fact that a few hours beforehand she said to him, like, she was telling him whatever he plans on doing to not do it. Like, she might not have known fully exactly what he was going to do, but she had a feeling that whatever he was going to do was not going to be good, and whatever it was going to be major. And I feel like that alone is not great, because, like, you had a few hours of a gap to at least put a warning out there. Obviously, that did not happen. There was no warning. There was warnings from him, but there was no warnings sent to the police on what exactly he was going to do. Which is obviously horrendous. I wish that someone would have reported what he was about to do. Obviously, there was a lot of fundraising after this. Equality Florida, the state's largest LGBT rights group, started a fundraising page to aid the victims and their families, raising $767,000 in the first 9 hours. As of the 22nd of September 2016, they have raised over $7.85 million online, a record for GoFundMe, with over 119,400 donors and an average of about $66 per donation, which is amazing. Like, that's an amazing figure to read, that many people actually donated for this, and that much was raised in just 9 hours, and literally within like a few months they reached almost 8 million. But yeah, it's just, there's never an excuse for anything like this. Stuff like this just shouldn't happen. It doesn't accomplish anything. Like, stuff like this just does not accomplish absolutely anything. It shouldn't be a thing that happens. It's shit that it fucking does, and now we live in a world of fear because we're worried that anything like this could happen any second. Shouldn't be the way people are living, but it is. And there's no excuse. I don't care if he was closeted. I genuinely could not care less if he was in the closet. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't change what he did. It doesn't make it any better. In fact, it makes it worse. If he was. There's no justifying it. I don't care. I mean, it's. I feel like everyone would agree with me on this. I feel like everyone would agree with me on that. But yeah,
I just really do not know what to say. That was a lot to take in. Mm-hmm. I'm still in shock at how high that number was. 49.
Yep.
Oof. I mean, there's a lot of things in that. Which people could say, but it's just like, again, I don't want to have to be the one to say it, but like, gun laws in America and shootings and all this, you know.
Yeah, I was going to do my usual, like, oh, here's how many shootings there have been in America, but I'm not going to do that because I shouldn't have to do that every single time we talk about a fucking shooting.
It's the same old story.
Yeah, it's the same old thing. It's not going to change.
No. And, yeah, the whole thing of living in fear. Americans do that all the time.
Yeah. It's
because of because of how, well...
You should be able to go on a night out and not be scared.
Yeah. It's... Man. You know, a nightclub's the one place where, especially for most people, you just go to escape.
Yeah.
Like, get away from the reality that is life. And just, you know, not have to worry about the problems you have in your life, you know, just all your cares away, etc., etc. But no, you can't go there without fear of getting, you know, injured or even killed. And that number, it's horrible. It's horrible. The number, that number is atrociously high, and it should never have happened. But, you know, I just feel sorry for Americans that have to deal with this horrific attacks and stuff that happen all the time. And, you know, the amount of times where I'll you know, shootings pop up in the news or this sort of stuff, and it shouldn't be like that. It should be going down. There should be none. And, you know, I'm in the LGBT community, but it still shocks me that something like this happened. And, you know, I know that the LGBT is one of the strongest communities out of any community there's ever been in the world. And it must have been an absolute shock for the entirety of Florida and the US, and for people being LGBT. And, you know, like you said, if someone knows that someone might be away to commit a horrific crime and they don't tell anyone, they're just as like liable. You know something and you can prevent innocent people from dying, but you don't. It's just crazy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Crazy, crazy, crazy.
But yeah,
crazy and nuts.
That was the Pulse Nightclub shooting. Like I said before, there are going to be the names of helplines and charities that deal with gun violence in the description. It's going on our Instagram as well. So if you have been affected, you can contact these charities. They are literally made to help you if you have been a victim or you are worried about anything. That's what they're there for. Definitely contact them if you have any worries. But yeah, thank you for listening to this episode. I understand it was a long one. Hope you thoroughly enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye!
Bye!